My Naylands have been gone for months. I know about the war. Yes, Clink, everything looks okay. Very good. Thank you, General. Have you ever envisioned a war jail camp hosting pranks? Hogan's heroes achieved the impossible in 1965. Colonel Hogan and his brilliant prisoner of war team at Stalag 13 escape the war and surreptitiously destroy Nazi plans, turning the bumbling German officials into amusing buffoons. Hogan's Heroes has many other strange truths people can't accept. Which is more shocking, Bob Crane, who portrayed Hogan, had an infamous dressing room full of sexual pictures, or Robert Clary, Sergeant LeBeau, escaped a Holocaust concentration camp? How did Larry Hovis constantly wear gloves on the show? What about Bob Crane's leather jacket? Watch this video for Hogan's Heroes 20 Most Surprising Facts. 20. Bob Crane's dressing room was pornographic. Not just Colonel Hogan, Bob Crane was funny. During Hogan's Heroes, few realized his shocking truth. The crew notoriously used his dressing room for pornography. Crane used the location to store sensitive materials, Polaroids, film negatives, and self-shot movies of his many sexual encounters with famous women. Not fully hidden, these materials. Crane presented them to co-workers and visitors as fun and pride. Crane's obsession with filming and revealing his private life made the scene unpleasant. Many crew workers felt uncomfortable avoiding or ignoring the star's behavior. Robert Crane, Crane's son, stated that this sensitive material collecting began in 1966 and lasted throughout Hogan's Heroes filming. Crane's iconic dressing room nickname spread swiftly, and colleagues still recalled it on following projects like Disney Pictures. How about this? Comment your thoughts. 19. The show was prohibited in Germany for 25 years. Hogan's Heroes revolutionized American television in the 1960s and 1970s, but Germany banned the show for 25 years. The reason? The Stalag 13 detention camp and antics of the German officers brought back Nazi memories. A wound in post-war German society. Censors worried that mocking fascists would belittle historical pain. The program was totally forbidden. After the Berlin Wall fell and Germany entered a new era in the early 1990s, Hogan's Heroes was eventually shown in Germany, to stunning results. Ignoring anger, they embraced the show. Despite initial misgivings, spectators appreciated seeing Nazis turned into harmless, incompetent, and easily deceived by Allied POWs. Germans saw it as a method to dehumanize the Nazis and make them funny on TV. The show became a German cult hit. Generations watched Hogan's Heroes for pleasure and to learn that comedy can transcend history. 18. Unknown to many, Bob Crane fell in love with Hilda, Colonel Klink's lovely secretary, played by Sigrid Valdis. Valdis, a minor character, became popular for his charm and cleverness. Both from viewers and the show's star. As colleagues and confidants in a recreated German POW camp, their bond flourished. The highlight of this courtship was a unique TV wedding. The Hogan's Heroes cast and crew, who had become family, witnessed Crane and Valdis' October 16, 1970 wedding. This was a media spectacle and proof that love can shine in unexpected places. The couple had their son Scotty Crane in 1971 after Valdis left performing to focus on family. However, this dream marriage had turmoil. Crane and Valdis were separated and about to divorce in the late 1970s when tragedy struck. The violent murder of Bob Crane in Scottsdale, Arizona, in June 1978 remains a mystery. Some sources say the couple reunited before his death, but it may never be known. Your thoughts on Bob Crane's personal life? Tell me your ideas. 17. Horror film damaged the set. The wooden barracks, campgate, and watchtower of Stalag 13 remained on the famed 40-acre Culver City backlit after Hogan's Heroes concluded in 1971. Classic films like Gone with the Wind and Star Trek were filmed here. The fate of TV's most renowned camp changed bizarrely and dramatically. Stalag 13 became a terrifying horror film a few years after Colonel Hogan and his team stopped making funny movies there. Ilsa. SS She-Wolf, 1975. The screenplay called for the Nazi camp to burn down. Filmmakers used Stalag 13 instead of erecting a set. Schultz's barracks, where he declared, "I know nothing," burned down in 1974 while cameras rolled. The camp burned, a dramatic cinematic sequence and the end of television history. 16. His wedding ring made Larry Hovis constantly wear gloves. Larry Hovis, who played Sergeant Carter on Hogan's Heroes for 6 years, refused to remove his wedding band. Even though Carter was portrayed as a single soldier with no family back home, Hogan saw the ring as an eternal commitment to his wife and could not remove it under professional pressure. The staff had to adapt due to this stubbornness. Carter wore gloves in most instances, whether indoors or when other characters had bare hands. Hogan effectively hid his left hand in pockets, behind his back, or turned away from the camera when gloves were impractical. To keep Carter's unmarried prisoner status, directors, cinematographers, and producers had to oversee him. When the disguise failed or Hogan slipped, eagle-eyed spectators saw the wedding ring. Loyal followers paused and replayed footage to catch Hogan's real-life love. Is this character intriguing? Comment your thoughts. 15. For Nazis were Jewish refugees. Hogan's heroes were odd, for weekly Nazi figures were Jewish actors who had fled Hitler's clutches. After escaping, the survivors dressed Nazi uniforms to mock their oppressors in front of millions of Americans. First, Werner Klemperer, who played the bumbling and meek Colonel Klink, was born into a prominent Cologne family. To escape the Nazis in 1933, his family moved to Vienna and subsequently Los Angeles. John Banner, the beloved Sergeant Schultz with his know-nothing motto, was also exiled. Nazis forced him to flee Austria, later joining in fighting in the U.S. Army against his TD foes. Even brave General Burkhalter Leon Eskin endured more. His family died at Treblinka. Howard Kane, the vicious Gestapo officer Hochstetter, was Jewish and served in the U.S. Navy against the Nazis. They made German officers into stupid clowns week after week, mocking fear symbols. Werner Klemperer later stated that depicting Nazis as fools was mental payback, making the scary ghosts of the past seem pitiful and silly to a global audience. 14. Theme song lyrics were hidden. Millions of people remembered Hogan's Heroes' catchy theme song, but few knew it had lyrics. Gerald Fielding composed a military-style version with heroic words. Heroes, valiant troops, sons of all wartime heroes. The lyrics praised the captives' bravery and intelligence while maintaining the show's humor. The full version was recorded by Richard Dawson, Robert Clary, Ivan Dixon, and Larry Hovis but never aired on TV. Hogan's Heroes Sing, The Best of World War II, a special album published during the show. It was smart to keep the theme instrumental on TV. Lyrics may have made the start sound too patriotic or solemn, undermining the caustic satire spectators appreciated. By keeping it instrumental, the show kept its particular tone, large enough to represent the setting but light enough to make spectators grin. Another intriguing fact, Bob Crane was a professional drummer before acting. He played the drumbeat at the start of each episode from the 1962 war film The Longest Day, linking Hogan's Heroes to previous World War II films. 13. General Burkhalter's rare Mercedes, the beautiful black-gray convertible he drove into Stalag 13, was more than a prop. Behind its grandeur was the Mercedes-Benz W31, a unique car with only 57 units made before and during World War II. It was a symbol of Nazi authority when new, but most automobiles were lost in bombings, abandoned during chaotic retreats, or scrapped for metal in reconstructing defeated Germany. Automotive historians estimated only 3 W31s survived worldwide in the mid-1960s, when Hogan's Heroes aired. Nevertheless, the production crew brought one of these renowned automobiles to Hollywood. Every time Burkhalter drove the convertible, spectators saw more than an arrogant German general. The little screen showed military history. The pick was incredible luck. Your thoughts? Voice your opinion. Survivor Robert Clary was born Robert Max Weiderman in Paris in 1926, the youngest of 14 Jewish children. The shadow of history snatched his childhood. Clary was exiled from France, transported to Otmouth, and subsequently to Buchenwald at 16. Clary's singing and dancing gave captives and guards hope in a world where death was around. A 5714, tattooed on his arm, was occasionally visible in Hogan's hero sequences. A sad truth emerged after the war. Clary survived among 14 close relatives. Death camps like Auschwitz killed his parents and 12 siblings. He rose from the darkness with those awful memories and turned his creative career into a testimony to human perseverance. Ironically, Clary played a POW in a comedy, bringing amusement and relief to a scene that had plagued him. His memoir From the Holocaust to Hogan's Heroes remains a legacy of unparalleled sorrow and hope. 11. Before playing Corporal Newkirk, Richard Dawson wanted to play Colonel Hogan. He entered casting confidently, yet his British accent was obvious from the start. Dawson's English accent showed through despite his attempts to imitate an American's humorous attitude and even comic Phil Silver's tone. This was unacceptable to Hogan, a true American. Bob Crane replaced him as the lead after producers withdrew him. Dawson capitalized on this setback. He played the scheming Corporal Peter Newkirk, a supporting character. He used his British accent, formerly a fault, to make Newkirk unforgettable. 10. Colonel Hogan's hero's leather jacket had an intriguing history. Von Lyons Express, 1965, starred Frank Sinatra in the jacket before Bob Crane. Hollywood-based Western Costume Comet made the jacket more than a prop. The event featured a famous vocalist and a 1960s TV icon. Amazingly, the jacket survived the series finale. It returned in 2002's biopic Autofocus. Greg Kinnear played Bob Crane as if the jacket's life and destiny were interwoven. The unique item was auctioned for $2,250 and $100 decades later and is now on display at the Liberty Aviation Museum in Ohio so nostalgia aficionados can see it. Bob Crane declined several major opportunities. The route to becoming Colonel Hogan was full of surprises for Bob Crane. Before accepting the career-defining role, he turned down 3 large TV offers. At the time, was the biggest radio star in Los Angeles, known for his lovely voice, quick humor, and entertaining delivery. He was a natural TV successor, according to executives. Crane dropped a late-night talk show slot initially. Was held by Jack Paar and Johnny Carson. Crane could have been a TV icon beyond a sitcom if he accepted. He rejected 2 promising sitcom screenplays, Please Don't Eat the Daisies, based on a successful book and 1960 film about a huge family and wacky housekeeper, and My Living Doll, a sci-fi comedy starring him and Judy Newmar as a man with a beautiful robot. Each thrived without Crane, who may have stayed a radio king who missed TV glory. Then Hogan's Heroes reached his desk. He laughed as Crane skimmed the script. It was a serious POW war narrative. Nothing spectacular. Crane stopped when his agent said it was a sitcom, a gigantic jail camp farce. He gambled on this wild notion. His risk made him a 1960s TV star. Werner Klemperer played violin well. Werner Klemperer, who played clumsy Colonel Klink, had a unique family and musical background. He was born to 20th-century conductor Otto Klemperer and opera vocalist Johanna Geisler. Werner learned piano and violin as a child in a musical family and had rigorous classical training. Numerous sites call him a concert-level violinist and pianist who can perform seriously on stage. In Hogan's Heroes, Colonel Klink commonly played the violin poorly. The crowd enjoyed Klink's fumbling more because the unusual, screaming notes were funny. Werner claimed he did not desire to be a professional musician due to his grandfather Otto Klemperer's influence. In order to downplay himself and avoid family pressure, he quipped that he made sounds dogs wouldn't want to hear. Does this intriguing information surprise you? Comments about this character are welcome. 7. A joke inspired the show's motto. A shocking joke inspired one of Hogan's most renowned advertising techniques. In a 1965 Bob Crane interview, comedian Stan Freberg said, "If you enjoy World War II, you'll appreciate Hogan's Heroes." "No, don't say that," Crane said quickly. The marketing team was immediately drawn to the wit. CBS made the joke the show's motto despite its satire. The subtle irony intrigued and appealed to audiences, but some who didn't get the show's humor criticized it. Bob Crane worried the tagline might be misinterpreted, yet it became renowned. 6. Kinch Kinchloe quit the show to direct. James Kinchloe, Ivan Dixon, left Hogan's Heroes in the 6th season to direct. Dixon, who had been with the series since 1965, wanted to broaden his creative range and directed The Waltons, The Rockford Files, and Magnum P.I. Include 1973's controversial thriller The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Kenneth Washington played Sergeant Richard Baker in his place. Baker, a radio engineer like Kinchloe, immediately became a key member of Hogan's squad due to his knowledge, talent, and wit. The script never explained Baker's presence, but the production staff cleverly filled the gap without affecting the show's flow or attraction. The show was set in an American prison. Hogan's Heroes almost never satirized a German POW camp. Initially, Albert Ruddy contemplated placing it in an American prison. Networks believed audiences wouldn't laugh at a home prison comedy, therefore the proposal was rejected. Ruddy learned NBC was developing a Campo 44 sitcom before abandoning the concept. The tipping moment. Ruddy realized that following behind would kill his enterprise early on. He took a risk instead of retreating. He set the story in a German POW camp for allies. This strategy to beat the competition made Hogan's Heroes unique. The result? The show survived and became a 6-season hit. Ironically, NBC's Campo 44 never went somewhere, but Ruddy made history with a daring move. Although modest, this pivot started a legend. Pilot filming promoted General Burkhalter. The first episode of Hogan's Heroes introduces Leon Askin's Colonel Burkhalter. Nothing seemed weird at first, but a problem arose shortly. Burkhalter was a colonel like Klink. How could he lead, chastise, and pressure the bungling camp commander? This contradiction reminded the producers of a major character hierarchy fault that threatened the show's logic and humor. Soon after, Burkhalter became general. Burkhalter's rank made him Klink's worst nightmare. He could reprimand, demote, and even send Klink to the front at any time. Interesting, Leon Askin did not appear in the episode after the pilot. Burkhalter returned in later episodes wearing the general's insignia. Strong, arrogant, and ludicrous. 3. Great success. Hogan's Heroes, a 1965 sitcom set in a German POW camp, won over millions of viewers. The stats show Hogan's Heroes' success. 168 episodes from 1965 to 1971, with 12 Emmy bids. The show was more than enjoyable. It shaped American pop culture, where laughter fought WWEI's gloomy memories. Werner Klemperer, who played the bumbling yet famous Colonel Klink, won the most prizes. He won 2 Emmys for Outstanding Supporting Actor in 1968 and 1969. A Jewish exile from Nazi Germany, Klemperer made a Nazi commander ludicrous, administering the harshest retribution for the real-life tragedies he witnessed. Beyond the Emmys, Hogan's Heroes won the 1967 NAACP Image Awards for changing television's representation of African Americans. From a provocative notion, the show became a classic, illustrating that laughter can heal and challenge history's grim legacies. The Crimson Hat turned blue. Fans debated LeBeau's hat, one of the show's funniest blunders. Season 2 fans witnessed his red hat turn green instantly on one episode. Quick viewers may have missed it, but once noticed, it became an unmistakable element every time the episode was replayed. This minor mistake is even more intriguing because LeBeau's red hat was a defining feature. Thus, even a slight tint shift disrupted the usual images. Some fans believe LeBeau was handed a green hat in the initial shoot, corrected to the characteristic red, and the scene mistakenly showed both. 1. Hogan's Heroes was set in Germany's frigid winter of Starlag 13, yet most outside scenes were shot in Southern California's blazing heat. Actors may struggle to wear heavy outfits, scarves, and shiver in temperatures above 89.6 degrees Celsius. To simulate snow and frost on roofs and windows, makers initially utilized salt. By the 4th season, they used white paint to save money and labor and provide a more permanent snow look. This simulated winter scene was both beautiful and risk-reducing. Salt and paint avoided rain and melting snow, allowing episodes to be telecast in any order without setting inconsistencies. Hogan's Heroes was a wartime POW camp sitcom with many intriguing behind-the-scenes details. The characters' creativity, bravery, and dramatic real-life stories were shown in every detail, from Jewish actors who fled Nazi Germany to rare wartime Mercedes cars, Wubby Buba 2 music collections recorded by the cast, and shocking secrets like Bob Crane's dressing room or Larry Hovis's wedding ring. Which Hogan hero fact do you enjoy best? Did Robert Clary's miraculous escape, Burkhalter's secret Mercedes, or Werner Klemperer's comedy transcend the screen? Comment below and subscribe to the channel for more amazing behind-the-scenes stories of legendary films. Thank you for coming.